Edith and I were one of the first to be able to tag a tree here on the land to dedicate to the memory of our loved ones. And I got to thinking, I picked a scraggly tree because that's how Kris and I used to shop for Christmas trees. We get the orphan in the lot and take it home and adopt it. And so I sort of saw this kind of scraggly one off in the distance and said, that's the one, and went over and placed the tag on it. And I thought, well, I'm going to do a tree. I'm going to do a tree. And one of the best memories that Kris always remember, we took a trip out to the Grand Canyon one time, drove across country. And one night it was a moonless night, and it was one of those clear June nights in Colorado where they got more stars than they were entitled to. And I said, we have to pull over, and he was like 9, he was in the back kind of playing some kind of game. And we have to pull over and let the kids see the night sky. And then it was so huge with stars, the Milky Way, you could see the Milky Way and everything, that the sky was not black, it was navy blue, because it was so beautifully lit up. So I knew that Swarovski crystals could imitate that. And the first time I laid out the trees, I had all the branches going down, and it looked very sad. So I went to the grocery store for milk and bread and looked at every pine tree and realized that pine trees grow up. So I came back and I just turned all of these pieces around so that they were reaching for the stars. And it's the main field. These are all his pine trees. There's kind of like a little texture of pine trees. And then I thought, well, how am I going to tie this in with, placing the dog tag on? So this is the other half of Kris's dog tag here. And then how am I going to make it look like a Christmas tree? So I got all these brightly colored buttons, and then I thought, oh, stars. Every time a Gold Star family member goes on the trek, they get to dedicate a star and put on the tree before they leave on the trek. So these are all of there were only like 3 or 4 when I first brought it up, and these are all the Gold Star family members who have gone on the trek. They've been able to dedicate a star. And tried to make the swirling kind of winter Maine wind going around, and there's a Star of Bethlehem is kind of off in the distance there, and it took probably a day to make the quilt and a week to put the crystals on. But I really enjoyed doing it, and every time I come, when you walk by it, you create a little airflow, and the night sky just lights up with the twinkles. And so it's always great fun to come and revisit. I was going to make a little one for myself, and I've decided not to do that. I did my quilt, and this is the image that I'd like to remember always.
Speak about the bar.
Oh, yeah, my friend Joe Beck, Vietnam veteran, and his wife, came over the first night after we learned about Kris's death, and were there so that I could ask him real personal questions about how the Army treats the dead, and he didn't realize that what a gift he gave me that night, just sitting around the dining room table, being able to talk to him. And he's done a lot of work for the Patriot. He did we call him Blacksmith to the Stars. So he's done a lot of work for the movies and whatnot, and for myself. He's been there to do a lot of craft work. And I asked him to do a hanger for the quilt. And, I said, and he knew what the theme and the whole bit was. And I thought he'd do something easy, like pine cones at the end. And he looked up balsa pine needles, and he would go out to the studio and come back in with his first try, and his wife would go back, and second try, no, go back. And he finally designed this to actually look like the needles of the balsa tree. And of course I was in tears when he presented it to me before they picked up the quilt. And yeah, he's a good guy.